All right. Well, skinny Bengals suffer their first loss of the season, and it's a historic one. The worst loss in franchise history in Jake Browning's first start this season. I know a lot went wrong today. Just if you want to give the rundown of what you saw out there in Minnesota today.
Yeah, and the one thing Jake Browning said after the game, and he's right. This is one loss. Thank goodness it doesn't count for more than that. But when you get kicked in the teeth like this, and he even says, "We got worked, and we got to sit in it." I thought he had some really interesting things to say after the game in that regard. But yeah, I mean, the goofy part is you give up the pick six, and it seems like everything's snowballing at 17-0. Then you get a field goal at 17-3, and then you get a stop, and you're driving down. You're at the Minnesota 40 with a chance to get points before halftime, maybe a touchdown before halftime, and you get the second half kickoff. And I even turned to Paul Dehner Jr. from the Athletics. Next to me, I said, "It's a chance, believe it or not, first series of the second half to suddenly be a ball game." And then it just all went wrong in a span. Do you know in a span of let's say minute 40, span of about 15 minutes and 30 seconds, they got outscored 31-0. And I thought the microcosm play was after all the stuff going, Noah Fant fumbles, all that was Samaje Perine just takes a simple run out the clock handoff to end the first half, and he fumbles, and Will Riker then kicks a 62-yard field goal to put a bow on that, and then you're done at that point. But five turnovers, you're not going to win, but I think it's deeper than five. Five turnovers made this game ugly, right? That two for scores. Guess who the NFL Defensive Player of the Week is going to be this week? It's going to be Isaiah Rodgers of the Vikings. But there was other ugliness, I thought. I thought the tackling was awful in the second half. The run fits were awful in the second half. It was almost like woe is us. That's probably oversimplified. And they couldn't run the ball again. I got the stat 21 rushes for 53 yards, and one of those was an end around by Jamar Chase for 9 yards. That's three straight games. They have not run it a lick. And I think it's really something that's the thing that's got to be rectified, because then you had Jake Browning in third and sevens, third and eights with the crowd noise that can affect you. And I thought they actually handled that part well, but that's going to lead to sacks and turnovers and bad, ugly plays. And I think you got all of that today, part and parcel because you can't run the football.
Yeah, and you brought up how you made that comment that this could be a one-score game at the start of the second half. If you look back at, what went wrong in the beginning, you have the pick six when you were driving down the field, and
For
at the
points.
very least, you could say you're going to get a field goal in that drive. So if you take that pick six away, you're looking at a 10-6 game at that point. It's a one-score game. It's still anyone's game. Then you get the pick six. Then you get the fumble recovery for a score. Everything just snowballs from there. And you brought up the defense in the second half, some of the issues tackling. I would assume that was maybe more of a, this game's over kind of deal. Maybe I don't want to say a lack of effort, but they know that it's over. Because in the first half, we saw Joseph Osai, we saw Miles Murphy getting sacks and making
Chris
plays,
Jenkins.
especially on third down. So do you think it was just something of a, this game's kind of over type deal? Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I do, and that happens. I mean, this is such a goofy league, and that's what I don't want this to. Listen, there are issues. Like I said, they've got some issues to correct. Run blocking issues, those have got to be rectified, and to some degree, run stopping issues have to be rectified. But Atlanta came in here on Sunday night, beat these guys in this building 22-6. Atlanta goes to Carolina today and loses 30-0. And the Vikings turn around off of their loss and beat the Bengals 48-10. This league is just nuts. And this isn't scores in college and high school, right? When you see some blowouts, most time it's right. One team is so much significantly better than the other. That's why it happens. That's not the NFL. This score today was indicative of a lot of ugly plays and five turnovers, but there are some things to fix. And I think the big takeaway for me would be you can't let this snowball from one game into two. And the next game is not easy either at Denver. And it's on Monday night. And it does give you a chance for a great redemption story on Monday night of, this team just got its teeth kicked in last Sunday and come back on a Monday night and put your best foot forward. But they got some things to figure out and fix. And I don't know where those fixes can come, because there's not new offensive linemen going to suddenly pop in. I mean, maybe you can scheme up the run game differently. I don't think this is a Chase Brown issue, but some advanced analytics today on Chase Brown showed he didn't have a very good game. Not just the raw stats of 10 carries for 3 yards, but it was like negative 20 yards of expected yardage that he should have gotten and didn't. So, I don't think they're his issues. It's got to be a combination of both, but you better fix it and fix it fast, because three straight games not running the football. You got away with it twice. And you got away with it because you turned the other team over. I think it shows you have no margin for error right now at the moment, and less margin for error when you cough it up 5 times, 2 of which come back for touchdowns.
Yeah, and on the Chase Brown subject, it's there are a lot of the replays that get shown, and I mean their defensive linemen just in the backfield. So I'd imagine that's got to lower the confidence on plays where you potentially could get more yardage, where
Yeah.
you just don't think that you're going to have it, right? Because at this point in time, I don't think there's any confidence in the running game with the way that it's looked, even when there is a play where you might be able to get some yards.
I mean, there was a play in the first half where Dylan Fairchild pulled. He was in the hole, and if he just blocks the guy, Chase is going to squirt through for a big gainer, and he didn't. And Chase got tackled. And yeah, to that point, that I think sometimes as a back, you start to instead of following your tracks of where the run's supposed to take you, you start eyeballing other avenues of escape, and that leads to more trouble. I think if I had some criticism of Chase, I think there's times he doesn't see some chances to bounce things in the hole. But I think he's a running back that follows his tracks. And I think coaches and offensive linemen appreciate that because you're trying to follow where the play's supposed to go and not making stuff up on the fly. But right now, following where the play's supposed to go isn't netting you very much. So I think I'll be really interested in whatever storylines pop up this week of what they can do to try to fix the run game.
Yeah, and I want to backtrack a little bit because you brought the moving on to Denver Monday Night Football. It's been a game and a half now for Jake Browning, and there have been 8 turnovers, I believe, since then. I mean, how do you rectify that by next Monday? I mean, this is just it's ballooning at this point in time. They got the win, a great 92-yard drive last week, but it's becoming an issue with these turnovers very quickly.
Yeah, he's thrown 5 interceptions in 2 games. You can't have that in the NFL, and he knows it. I think he has to get to that place, and I think you saw it on the interception, the one that was returned for a pick six. He scrambles up in the pocket. He sees Chase Brown. He thinks he can force one in there. Harrison Smith gets a fingertip on it. It deflects it to Isaiah Rodgers, and he goes for 6. And in the press conference after, he said, "I just have to throw that ball away." And I think to get to that mindset for a quarterback can be really hard to do when he started the games 2 years ago, he did make some tough throws and tough plays in tough windows. And then you start to think you can get away with that all the time. And he hasn't been able to do that. And so that leads to 5 interceptions in 2 games. I mean, when Jake has the time and he's in rhythm, he's an extraordinarily accurate quarterback. You don't lead the NFL in completion percentage like you did in 2023 without having accuracy and taking easy completions. I think, unfortunately, today, easy completions got you 2 yards, run got you a yard, and you're back in 3rd and 7, and then that's not an easy completion. And so I think that's the one thing that is fixable for Jake. I think he really was aware of it. Like I've tried to force some that I just got to stop doing that and just live for another day. Or to your point, you could have gotten a field goal out of that one drive as opposed to that was a 10-point turnaround, right? A 3-pointer for you and a 7-pointer for them. And all you have to do is throw the ball away. I get what he was trying to do, what he saw, but I think that's the learning experience for him that he just has to understand. I just can't make this play. Let's either punt it, kick a field goal, or live for another down.
All right, well, we're gonna have to see if Bengals can figure that one out by next Monday when they get ready to take on the Denver Broncos. Chance to go 3-1 or 2-2 as they start off this really tough stretch of a schedule here over the next 3-4 weeks.
Well, I will leave you with this. I mean, like Jake Browning said, this only counts for one. So to your
Mm-hmm.
point, if you do turn around next week, you still only have one in the other. Going into that game, you still only have one in the right-hand column in the loss
Yep.
column. It feels ugly. It was ugly. It's just one week in a crazy NFL where goofy stuff happens.